the fridge series. A series where the shop dogs work on this 1958 F100 that we've named the fridge because it is one called some and it is having some troubles running and driving on its own. So today we're going to take care of a few things like adjusting the clutch, probably give it an oil change. The intake gasket has a leak, which has caused us to not be able to tune our carburetor. So we're going to take care of that today. I got some intake gaskets and valve cover gaskets because those are leaking, and they were like, I don't know, $12 for the gasket. So I'm like, why not? While we're at it, that's a dangerous game to play, but we're playing it, and hopefully then it'll be able to run and drive. And I think I just noticed a few other problems, like our slave cylinder is leaking, so that would be another thing we have to address. But so far, we have replaced the starter, battery, and got a new carburetor for this. We also bled the slave cylinder so that it was able to run and drive. We installed the radiator, we got the hoses hooked up. It doesn't have any water in it right now, but I don't see that being an issue. I mean, it's like negative 20 degrees outside. Who needs water anyways? That being said, I'm going to peel the hood off of this and get into it. Another thing about this truck is it is a complete and utter wiring disaster, and eventually there will be a time where I go through and either fix the wiring harness that's in it right now or just get a completely new one. But yeah, it's not pretty. Now, I don't know if it's this. Should have got a valley cover gasket as well while I was at it, but we're just going to do the intake gasket and hopefully that fixes our vacuum leak problems. Make it run a little bit better, and I know it does run. There's just some things about it that make it not run so well, you know, like an unadjusted carburetor. You know, I've been more of a fuel injected guy myself, except for TBI. I don't like TBI because that's like a really poor setup, if you will. TBI. All right, I only got one left. Nice thing I like is that this fender is off, so I can just walk up in here and have no issue getting that carburetor, nuts and bolts, and stuff and things. And we got an electric choke now, which needs to be wired. Right now I'm just using this red jumper wire here, and that goes to this little tab down here. You can't see it, but you get the gist. And if you've ever worked on a carburetor before, you know how it works. There's also a vacuum advance distributor back here. It goes to another one. There it is right here. Pull that off. And there you have it. Carburetor be gone. Coil off here. Now I have no idea how long this truck has been sitting here, but I do know it's a long time. But the fact that I was able to put a carb on it and it start is pretty impressive for a truck that you have no idea how long it's been sitting. All right, we got our intake off, and we were right to assume, because here's our broken intake gasket. And if I look on the intake, that'd be this one right here, and I think part of the gasket's still on it. Yeah, part of the gasket is still on there, but it's very brittle. I'm also gonna clean this thing up because it is really like greasy and grody and rusty. Yeah, all that stuff. So I'm gonna clean that, and then also clean this stuff out of here because I don't want any of this shit going down into my cylinders or anything like that. Well, hey, look at that. It's a little clippy-do for the throttle cable, so I don't fall off the carb. Oh, I need that too. So yeah, we're gonna do that, and then I should have got one of these valley cover gaskets. I'm gonna see if I can get one. God, there's so much stuff hidden, so much treasure, hidden treasure underneath the intake. yeah, let me take a look at that, see if I can get one of those valley covers at the same time I'm ordering up oil. Alrighty, I got the intake all nice and clean. You can see it's nice and shiny on the head side. And then I also took a little time to clean up the surface on the intake and also washed it, got a little bit of that grease off of there. And I'm gonna grab my new gaskets and then slap that back on there and tighten it down. I was not able to source a valley cover, which really bums me out because that one's really like brittle and gross and it might be an issue down the road. But right now I don't really care. All right, now that the intake is torqued down, we can start redoing all of our heater hose piping and put the carb back on and all that fun stuff. And hopefully fire this thing up, see if it made any sort of difference. Oh, I forgot one. Forgot two of them. You know what? We're just gonna do it. As the Germans say, guten tight. You know what I mean? Same with this one here. Guten tight. German torque spec right there. This is actually a radiator hose, this one here, that we stole off of the EcoDiesel. Follow me on TikTok or Instagram. You've probably seen me tear that motor apart. Well, this is actually off of that truck. Okay, that's all done. Oh, just grab the impact. Why not? Use your hands a little bit. Can't always have the impact. Sometimes you just gotta get in there with your hands. Put our coil back on. And since I had this off, I can actually adjust it because I need to slide the coil back. See how it slides? I need to slide it all the way back. As part of my carburetor, the vacuum advance usually is hitting the corner of my coil. So I had to turn the vacuum advance up, but shouldn't have that problem with this slid back here like that. There we go, guten tight. I think the only thing left is to put the carburetor back on. Put a gasket on here, because I don't know if it's supposed to have one. It looks like there was one on there. Here's there still is one on here. What's a gas? All right, I gotta clean that up. That's probably another issue. Just never know with these finicky old machines. That is totally a gasket. All right, here's my rags. Stick them into holes. Yep, that's an old gasket for sure. Buy an old Ford, they said. It'll be fun. I mean, it is kind of fun working on an old piece of machinery like this, but at the same time, it's so goddamn old. But this thing will be a pretty sick beast when it's done, I think. So I'm taking this day to get this thing hopefully running decent enough to where if a customer does need their car worked on and I have it in the shop, I can take it out of the shop and have it not be such a big deal to get it back in the shop. Because it has never, this is the first time it's actually been in the shop to get worked on because, well, it's kind of a hassle to move the thing. And then once it's in the shop, you want to do some work to it. It's got to be in the shop for a while. But usually, get it in the shop, and then I got to work on somebody's car or something or other, you know. And then I got to put it outside, and then I don't feel like bringing it back inside because it's such a pain in the ass. Pain in the backside. Voila. Boom, pow, pop, bang. Boom. Another gasket on top of that. Oh, now we're ready for a carburetor. The carburetor ain't hooked up to the motor. The motor ain't pushing enough pressure. Oh, that problem right there. All right. I also took a little time to clean up the turbinator. Look at that. I got clearance now back here with my helium bob. This is for that. It goes there. And then while I took the intake off, I found one of these clips from a throttle linkage. So now that'll be all nice and goot and tight and won't fall off. So I was like, I thought I had something for it, but I guess I didn't. I was mistaken. What do you think, Rido? What do you think, Rido? Carburetor on there. What a beast. Oh, the mesh of the motors together. Got our fuel can down here hooked up. We're gonna see if we can get a good fire out of this thing. What is it?
We have a no fuel situation.
We'll crank her over again and see what. Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Should be fuel pouring through it, so. Okay, shut it off.
Yeah.
I have fuel going through it, no problem.
Okay, so that's probably a problem with the carburetor then.
Well, I don't know, because it just started up.
Well, that's because I dumped the excess fuel from the hose down the car.
Oh,
But you did have fuel going through that.
that's steady stream.
Okay. Okay, so it's not the filter, which means it's probably a problem with the carburetor and the float. So we'll take that apart and take a look at it now. Imagine trying to figure this out. It's like 8 degrees. Screwdriver.
Need a wider blade though.
This is the widest blade I got. No. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I do need a wider screwdriver.
Need a real screwdriver.
Need a real screwdriver. Hey, this carburetor did work good in the fall when we put it on there, but we also didn't clean it.
Really.
We didn't clean it or anything. I just dropped it on as soon as we got it from the junkyard.
It was running and it wasn't running well.
No, it ran. It ran just enough.
Yeah. Well, just enough, you know it runs.
Yeah.
That little rod,
Yeah.
bend it down.
This rod here.
Yep. I'll see if it'll pull the
Barely pulls it up.
Whoa, 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 whoa. It's Chinesium. Motherfucking Chinesium.
All right, now let's see what happens.
Let's crank her over. Let me see something once first.
All right,
Put a little gas in. I don't know if it's enough to work the squirter, but.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got squirts. Uh-oh, what was that just fell off?
Alright, motor runs. Grab a tune the carburetor. I'm gonna go get some oil and a filter, change the oil. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna see if I can get some freeze plugs because one of the plugs is freezing, and that's probably caused by leaving water in there and then it freezing and then it destroying the freeze plugs. So yeah. Alright, taking a look at this slave cylinder here. It is currently leaking. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. It is leaking at the boot. It's causing some problems with shifting. So I'm gonna take care of that right now. 292. Why block? Cause why the fuck not? All right, let's see what's wrong with this guy. Bring it over to the bench and take a look at this little guy right here. See this boy right here?
Then we can pull the plunger out.
Yeah, because it looks like if you look in there, it looks like that's where it's leaking from, is that in there. I'm sure there's an O-ring.
Yeah, there's only one
And look
place
at how
for
much-
it to leak.
Look at all this,
That's right there.
look at all the gunk in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's just the rod pushing back and forth. It's not inside the brake system itself. Or
no,
clutch.
well, that's how this all got all like, look at all that shit on there.
Yeah.
All
that's
rusty.
off. Let's get to the plunger.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all full of dirt.
Gross, that is nasty.
Yeah, just take it off.
Oh, there it goes. That's a nice little trick. There it is. Put that bad boy back in the truck now. Got our slave cylinder back in there. Hit the clutch once. We have the clutch pedal again. There we go. All right, we got our clutch slave cylinder redone, installed, bled, so we have a clutch. But the brakes will not pump up, and that is because of this rear slave cylinder is leaking where the line is, and I'm gonna try to do something about that. If I can't, well, then I'm gonna have to get a new slave cylinder. All right, we got the plunger out of one side. I'm gonna try to get this side out, and then maybe we'll be able to rebuild this cylinder. Most of the parts all cleaned, and now we're making a homemade cylinder hone. We're gonna hone this, and hopefully we'll have a nice rebuilt slave cylinder, won't we, Grandpa? Right? Heck yeah.
Indeed.
All right, I'm back here on day 2 working on this thing because yesterday, as I was working on that brake, my phone ran out of storage, so it stopped recording, and I don't have any of the footage of us bleeding it, but it works. It doesn't leak. Ooh, that's good. That's very good. Very, very good. So, brake cylinder and brakes are done. And today, I've picked up oil, filter, coolant, and we're going to take a little bit of that, and we're going to do that to this. And then I'm also going to clean up this steel fuel line over here on the frame rail so I don't have to use this rubber hose, and hopefully I can start working on the flooring and put the fuel tank back in and the seat, and then probably just tape the windows up and put some of the body panels on hopefully later this week, and then hopefully I'll have this video done and edited by then at the end of the week. But right now I'm also working with a Dawg water computer that, as I'm editing, likes to freeze and crash, and then I have to start all over, which has been really frustrating for me. So patience. Hey. It's time to change oil. Oh, god damn. Should have put gloves on. I hope this drain pan holds all of this. Luckily I got a rag right here. But look at that. Look how gross that is. That is dark. Gross oil. Just let that drain. I see like how big that is. Big plug, Yurt. You can kind of see a little better, but we're taking off this big boy here. And this is like a cartridge filter system. So I believe if I take this off of here, there should be a filter in here that I can take out and then swap with another, with a new style filter. Oh, there it goes. Dripping oil. Get tight again. Probably a lot of oil. This is probably going to be really messy, and I really hope it's not. It probably is going to be. If it is, that will be funny for you and not so fun for me. There we go, there's the O-ring for it. Dump that out. So yeah, see, it's like a cartridge system. So it's in here. Usually, if I can unthread this, pull this out, this bolt out, pull this filter out. This is your 1950s style oil filter. And that just goes inside of this housing. There's a little spring there. Yeah, I'm hoping today that I can convert. And if I can't, well, it's gonna suck. A lot. So yeah, I'm gonna go take a look at that now. Okay, so through my stupidity again, I bought this oil filter thinking, yeah, this is gonna go right on there. But no, it's not, because it's a cartridge system and I had to get a whole conversion kit and all that stuff. And I called the parts stores and they're like, what that? We don't got anything like that. But I called O'Reilly's, and my boy over there, he's like, yeah, man, I can get you one by 5 o'clock today. So 5 o'clock comes around, I'm gonna be slapping an oil filter on this thing. And this is turning into like a whole week-long project of working on this truck. But we've gotten a lot of things done, and it's gonna be all good by the end of the week and should be running and driving. So right now I'm just gonna leave it how it is. I'm gonna work on some other projects around here while I'm waiting on my parts, because tomorrow the freeze plugs come in and later this afternoon I'll get the oil filter. So the coolant won't even be going in this thing until tomorrow when I fix the freeze plugs, because they're leaking. But until then, I guess we just wait for our parts. One of the things I dread, waiting for parts. All right, it's day 3 working on this thing. Yesterday I didn't get a whole lot done. I mostly just drained the oil and then I had to wait for some parts. But I got those parts now. Here's the freeze plugs. So I'm gonna start working on doing those. And then I also got our oil conversion kit for the oil filter, which then I'll also put that on, and then we can start buttoning this thing up, put some coolant in it, and hopefully roll it out this door. Another little cool thing I did was put a I painted this oil can, oil breather can. Yeah, I painted it red because it looks cool. I am a little confused right now because it says that this conversion kit here is supposed to bolt onto your oil breather or your oil bypass, but I don't have an oil bypass to bolt this onto. What I'm working with right now down here is I got this breather here, and then my oil filter goes back there. But there's no bolt holes in the block to put this on there, which really confuses me. It doesn't make sense. It says it's supposed to work for this motor, and that's not going to work. There's no caps or anything. There's like a breather bypass there, but I'm so confused right now. And I think that this is actually supposed to go here. And at this point, I'm just gonna return this and the filter and just get a cartridge and just keep it factory original. This is way beyond my brain's comprehension. To be quite fair, this is way beyond what I had anticipated it was going to be. So, there you have it. Wrong parts again. So first you wait for your parts, and then once they get here, they're not right. Which really bums the guy out. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm just going to work on the freeze plugs, and then when Grandpa shows up here at the shop, I'll ask him. Alright, let's take some freeze plugs out. I got a punch and a hammer, because I don't have like a dedicated puller. I really wish the fender wasn't on this side, but it is. This sucks. I wish the motor was not in. Give me 1 second. I'm going to figure out a better way to do this. Alright, I got you set up in a little better spot to see what it is I'm actually doing. Oops. Just another dent for the fender. Pissing water, pissing in the wind. I'm losing friends. Making the same mistakes we swear we'll never make again. Ah, see, I got smarter this time. So that I wouldn't drop plug down in there. There it is. There's another one. And then this one, I gotta take the starter off. Take the starter off, but I know that one's leaking. I seen it yesterday. So yeah, there's trace. Number 3. Alright, I got the starter out, and if you're ever curious what a 1958 F100 starter looks like, this is it. This is like original equipment. I did buy this starter in the fall, like I said, and put this in. Only thing that I had to take out of the old starter is this weight and this gear. But starter was pretty cheap, and it just came with this shaft. You can buy one with this already on it, but I was like, it's like $60 cheaper to just take the one I got off the starter I have and put it in here. And I was gonna rebuild the starter I had, but I took it apart, and all of the brushes and stuff and the armature and everything was just toast, not rebuildable. Unless I wanted to completely take it apart and pull the coils, all the things out of it. I'm not going to talk too much, it sounds stupid, but yeah, it was just not worth my time when I could just pick this one up and put this deal on here. So yeah, it looks like we're getting some good contact, and this is a healthy starter, so now I'm going to take that freeze plug out. Alright, it's coming to the end of the day, but I've got the new oil filter ready to be installed and the new freeze plugs, as well as cups painted. That cup's painted, so we're just on the downhill slope right now of completing this truck to be able to fire up and drive out of the shop, which is the main goal for this video here. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'll show you how to put one of these in, and then I'm gonna do the rest of them, and then slap filter back together, and when I cut back after putting this in, should be driving. After buying the wrong plugs, I bought some other ones, and they are the right size. Sweet. And I got my socket here. hopefully I can just hammer them in without any issue. Get my silicone here and my little silicone popping tool. Get this all right. Yeah, put a little bit of silicone around the outside of the plug. And I'll also get some more here for the inside of the plug. I'll take some of that, just kind of smear it around here. Like that. All this is gonna do is just help seal this plug in there. Take the socket, like that. Put that on there. Get it roughly center. Just kind of tap it in there. It's got to go quite a ways in. I'm a little high right here, so I'm just going to angle my socket. Tap the top part in till that's in there. Ow! And there's a little, like, shoulder. You want to get it in kind of to the bottom of that shoulder. On this block, the shoulder's not very big. It's practically non-existent. But there you have it. I gotta hammer this side in a little bit more, but that's the gist of that. And then it gets sat in there, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're all the way set. All right, I got it all in there, and as you can see it's seated under this bevel. And then there's I put a little indentation in there to help expand it so it seals properly, and the silicone, all the excess, I just wiped off of there. Yeah, that's how that's done. I'm gonna do the rest of them. Do this one, and those ones over there, and then start putting this thing back together. All right, we got all new expansion plugs back in. So now we can put the oil filter on and put some oil in it. 5 quarts of 10W40 at the max. Most people are like, it doesn't say what kind of oil it takes on the cap, and there's no oil cap on the valve cover. How do I know what kind of oil to put in here? Where do I put the oil?
What?
That was me.
It should have straight rate oil in it.
Yeah, well, it's getting 10W40.
It didn't even have 10W when this fucking truck was built.
Hey, well, this is conventional weight. This isn't synthetic or anything. The starter's really easy to put
It's the
on.
goofiest looking fucking starter I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know, dude. Ugh. It is a goofy looking starter. Easy install, easy removal, but you know, how often do you think somebody replaced a starter?
Never.
Yeah. One starter lasts the lifetime of this truck. As we can see, got good oil pressure. I think it's just running nice. Better than it's ever run in our ownership. We got a nice clean on there. Oil filter.
Like that, boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a new bypass on it. Make it a little bit of coolant. Well, we went to do our timing and adjustments on the distributor and the spark, but we're having so many misfires. We're wondering why. Well, it's because we have bad spark plugs, which will be here tomorrow, Friday. So they've turned this into a week deal somehow. And I was like, I'll just bring it in the shop, do a couple things, and it'll be running great. But no, I need spark plugs. So, one more day. We need spark plugs. We did adjust the dwell, and that's probably why it sounded really cammy yesterday when we were running it. It's because it wasn't running on all cylinders, but I'm sure it'll sound much better, run much better, and this thing will finally get out of the shop so I can go back to work and make some more money so I can continue to work on it. It is now Friday, and it is negative 22 degrees outside. So when I said that we named the fridge because it's one cold sunbee, it should actually be more accurately named the fridge because every time we work on it, it is freezing cold outside. I mean, it's probably the coldest days of the winter right now. But I got some new spark plugs, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw those on. New plug wires are on. We got them in there. They're routed a little messed up because they're not quite the right length that I need them to be, but messing around with the timing, I had to do a lot of stuff to the distributor, like adjust the points and clean some of them, as well as then do my firing order and then change my timing, which right now it's a little bit retarded, but it's running good. It's running at like 1600 RPMs, which I don't understand. But I had an issue with my number one cylinder not firing and the plug not getting any spark, and then it turned out to be my distributor. So I had to do those adjustments. Now it's running. So yeah, this has turned into a whole week of working on just the motor. So after all that trying to tune and time and mess around with the idle and stuff, found out that this rotor is not the right rotor for the distributor. This is the one that came with the truck, but it's not right, and it was like wobbling around in there and spinning and just causing all sorts of problems with the spark. So I'm gonna go get a new one right now, and hopefully that'll fix the issue. Okay, I'm sitting here editing this video and realizing that I forgot to record all of us doing the timing, adjusting the distributor. The rotor I got from the parts store ended up being not the right rotor too. So I ended up taking the original one, the black one I showed you, and my grandpa came up with a great idea. We took this little metal prong deal and bent it so that it would hold tension on the shaft of the distributor, which made it a little better. It was tighter on there, but it still kind of turns side to side, so the little lag you're probably dealing with. And I gotta get a different distributor, but got it all running decent enough. I'm gonna show you how I've achieved my goal, that I can get in this thing, fire it up, drive it forward, and drive it backwards. I'm only gonna move it a little bit because it is in the shop. There's not a whole lot of room, but Just listen to that baby purr. Oh my God, dude. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy that it runs and it moves. And it actually just like, I mean, it doesn't like, you can't just crank it and start it. You gotta give it a little blip of the carburetor, give it a little gas, and then turn it over. And it's idling about like, I don't know, 850 to 850 to 1,000 RPM, which is kind of high. I would like it to be a little more closer to like 650, 700, 750. But with the distributor being the way that it is, it's not gonna do that. But hey, I got me some wheels. So it is late. Well, it's not super late. I shouldn't say that. But it's Friday night. And I'm trying to get my Friday night on by going home and eating some dinner and then start editing this video. But I've achieved my goal that this vehicle can now run and drive and go out of the shop, fire up, and drive into the shop, which was the whole point of all this work we did. And it was a really big frustration because I got a lot of the wrong parts. I couldn't find the parts I needed. And I was working with like $100. So that kind of made it difficult because a lot of the parts and things I needed were like all of that, which really is like, the guy's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And so now I'm just going to save up some money and hopefully get back to working on this thing. I got a lot of the stuff that I can just do for free, like putting all this junk in there, welding up the floor. I got the seat right there, the tank's in the other room. But then I'll have like a complete truck and hopefully I'll be able to drive it. But if you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you didn't, you can also let me know. But thanks for watching.